So how do you create a brand that truly represents who you are and the products you sell, as well as building a business that you can scale online? That is what this podcast will help you do. My name is Henry Kaminski Jr., and welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast.
Let me just make this statement loud and clear. Jersey's here, Jersey's here. 1, 2, 3, go!
What's shaking, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor Podcast episode. Today, we're going to be talking about this question right here. How personable is your brand coming across online these days? So I have my favorite branding colleague of all time, Always Q, in the house. What's going on, my dude?
What's up, Henry? What's up, everyone?
Dude, we're going to break it down today and talk about how personable your brand should or could be online to help you generate the right clients, the right people into your funnel, into your business, so that you enjoy working with the clients that you're serving. How many of us have brought on clients that once we brought them on board, we realized, oh, damn, we should have qualified them a little bit better. We should have, we could have, I would have, and now it's not a fun experience, right? I've been doing this too long to take on clients that don't appreciate the work or I'm not resonating with. And it's just, it's an amateur mistake to bring a client on, in my opinion, at this level of my game, to do that. So let's talk about the big problems here that some of you may be facing right now when it comes to creating more of a personal brand online. So problem number one could be your brand isn't resonating with your ideal client. You keep attracting a lower quality client or the wrong people in your funnel, right? You may be feeling that your messaging isn't hitting the mark that it should. And it could be improved somehow, but you have no idea how to make that happen. So Awais and I are going to go into a series of questions to help you personalize, maybe even humanize your brand on a much more impactful level right after this quick little message. If you're a business owner who feels your branding isn't truly representing the value that you deliver, check out this free video training that will help you level up your brand's messaging and online presence so that you can start attracting higher quality clients. Visit www.uniquedesignz with a Z at the end, not an S, .net/level up my branding. All right, guys. So before we get into this, for all of our live listeners, if you want to participate in this conversation, please drop some comments in the comments, ask some questions. If you have them burning inside and you just want to get some clarity, we want to make this interactive. And for those folks that are listening to this, if you want to join our live streams, make sure you join my email list, which you could get access to on my website, Unique Designz with a Z at the end, not an S, .net. Okay, so always let's talk about this for a second, right? What comes to mind when personalizing your brand online?
Couple of things. So the first thing that I would actually look at is from the customer's perspective.
Okay.
And that's what, so when you're personalizing someone's brand, we're personalizing it according to the people that buy from them, right? Rather than personalizing it around their company, which is great. Yes, you're personalizing it based off of whatever that makes their company unique. However, you really got to go out to their customers and see exactly what challenges their customers are facing and how the business is uniquely positioned to resolve those challenges.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. So I'm gonna challenge the audience today with some questions. Okay. And so the first question that I ask is, if you were to describe your brand to someone right now, how would you describe it? And I got some options for you. Option one is, you've defined your ideal client. You know their interests, you know their pain points, their likes, their dislikes, and why they would buy from you. B, you're still doing some research. You're not quite dialed in on who that ideal client is. Or C, you haven't even thought about defining your ideal client and not sure who the hell they even are in the first place.
That's right.
So let's think about that before we move on, because if we don't know, to your point, Oasis, who our ideal client is, how could we personalize the brand to them?
Exactly.
Again, it all starts there. It all starts
Exactly.
there. So question number 2, okay? Your brand's showing up on social media platforms. How? In which way? A, kind of active, maybe a post here and there, but you're not really consistent with it. B, you're super active. You got a content calendar, you're planning ahead. It's like gospel that you're posting consistently. Or you're not even existent on social media and people can't even find you there. So which one, what bucket do you fall into? Okay. I'm going to talk to Oasis about this for a second before we move on to question number 3. When it comes to showing up on social media, what do you think is the bullseye, the weapon that you could use, or that you see people using, that's just creating massive engagement and a very active audience? What do you think that is?
Consistency is key. I would say consistency and making sure that they're showing up on a regular basis, creating that top of mind awareness. But then, the guys that are really just killing it, they're getting a little bit sensational with some of their taglines, right? They're not necessarily staying within they're not necessarily staying within a confined sort of a norm, and they'll challenge even some things that they perhaps don't even believe in. So they'll come out there and say the most out of this world, sort of like spaced out things that just capture your attention. I mean, I think just the other day, you and I were talking about Hook Point, where he talks about, you only have 3 seconds now. Before it was like 8.5 seconds, still less than that of a goldfish, but only 3 seconds for in our attention span. So how do you capitalize on that narrow window of a time? Really, I think it has a lot to do with the way that your visuals are, and then B, your messaging has to be able to stick. It's got to be able to get out there within that 3 second time.
And I'm going to say C, evoke some sort of emotion.
There you go.
Right? Evoke some sort of emotion, whether you're pissing somebody off, whether you're making them laugh, making them cry, making them, I don't want to say confused, but making them challenge their assumption. Let's just say that, right? If you're not evoking some sort of emotion, see, I like to make people laugh. I've always loved to make people laugh. So when you go to my Instagram account and you see my silly reels that I repost, like, I want to get a chuckle out of you. That's why I'm posting, right? If you watch my Instagram stories and my 3.5-year-old son saying silly things, and I'm egging him on and I'm driving my wife crazy, I'm doing it to get a reaction. I'm doing it to make you laugh, right? There's other people out there that they love to just annoy people and piss people off, and that's their go-to. Pick your poison, like pick what you love to do, and make sure that you're leveraging it on social media, because that's what that's how you get people to pick sides. That's how you get people to pick a side and get them out of the middle, because nothing really happens there, right? Nothing really happens in the middle, right? So let's move on, just for the sake of time. Let's look at question number 3. When you post online, what happens? A, people don't really interact with my posts, and we're like ghosts out there. B, some comment, some like, but we could definitely improve upon it, and we would want more of that. C, we get a massively engaged audience. People are sharing, liking, saving all day long. Or D, we don't post at all. We don't post at all. Okay. So when you look at those, which one do you fall into? What category do you fall into the most? A, B, C, or D? Okay. So for me, I would say we could always be improving our engagement, but I would say over the past couple months, we have been getting some massively engaged posts out there and have been really attracting a nice qualified audience on our platforms. So I'm sort of in the middle there. But how you do that is by personalizing your brand, by sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, and not being afraid of that, not being afraid of judge. I got a good story for you, Awais. You'll get a kick out of this in a second. But what are your thoughts when it comes to posting online? And where would you fall in those categories?
I'm going to be like this sometime. I'm still catching up to speed with you, man. But Henry, here's a question that I have for you. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I saw on a fellow brander's, I guess a carousel. So he specifically talked about how our profiles need to be designed according to our brand guidelines, or, whatever our brand structure is, and particularly from an aesthetic standpoint. So, and again, those accounts, and he was like, look, there are accounts out there that have like a massive following, and they have this huge footprint already. They don't necessarily need to worry about how, like, all the aesthetics. But then there are profiles, or like there are accounts like the rest of us, that he's saying that if you're in the brand design, or whether you are even in the brand design or you're in construction, whatever it might be, that perhaps in that sort of a scenario, you need to make sure that you have a strict sort of a brand structure there, from a visual identity standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint. How true is that? I mean, again, I'm asking you because you don't necessarily follow that strict sort of a guideline.
I don't. I used to. But what I found was I have a different objective for Instagram. And my objective is reach and impact.
Yeah.
Reach and impact. So there are certain do's and don'ts on Instagram if you want that objective to come true. Okay. Yeah. And I have done enough posting on Instagram. I'm over almost 6,000 posts.
Wow.
Okay. I know what hits and I know what doesn't on my account. And you know what doesn't? Those highly branded posts. Yeah. It's been battle tested. So I pepper them in. Oh, where'd I go here? I pepper them in, but I don't follow such a strong brand guideline. Now, you may be saying, Henry, you're such a hypocrite and you're going against your word and so on. There's a few things that I do pay attention to. One is the minimalistic approach. So my brand is very minimalistic. I don't like crowd. I don't like clutter. So you'll see a lot of my posts are very clean. You'll see me using a very similar font selection. It may not be exactly, but you'll see the more bold fonts being used. Okay. and you'll see some sort of a pattern being done, but it's not going to be this beautifully curated, because I'm not going for that aesthetic. I'm going for the reach and the impact. So I play with it, but I don't play with it all the way, if that makes sense, right? Because I know from my account, it just doesn't work, right? It doesn't get the reach. It doesn't make the impact that I'm looking for. So, but great question. So, if your objective for your Instagram account is to show everybody how awesome your social media account, especially Instagram, can be designed, then you better have a well-designed Instagram account. I mean, it's just a different objective. So completely up to you. However, I do, with that, the brander that we're speaking of, I do agree that design does matter. And you cannot be lazy when it comes to, funny story here. One of my clients from 3 years ago, right? I put this in an email this morning. You might've got it. 3 years ago, I branded this business, and this guy has been working so hard at his brand. He's doing great work. However, I'm on Instagram yesterday scrolling away, and I see this post come through, and I'm like, no way, this can't be him. Brand coloring was off. Typography was off. His logo wasn't on it. It was some random pictures thrown up. It looked garbage. So I texted him and I said, dude, this post is so off brand, because I screenshotted the post. I said, this post is so off brand. And he writes back, he screenshots his Instagram account and he goes, what post? I think I hit the world's record of deleting a post as fast as I possibly, the world's fastest post being deleted on Instagram. I said, dude, you work so hard to build this brand to where it is. Don't go cheap. Don't go just to get it done. Yeah. Because people see that, people recognize that, and you don't want to be categorized as that fly-by-night internet marketer that is just throwing some shit together with Canva or word swag to get a post that like nobody wants that, especially like he sells a high ticket coaching program. So like when you come across like that, you look cheesy. Yeah. Right. So,
and what does that do to your credibility too? I mean, it's just, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Here's a great question from Dr. Graffo, one of our live audience members. What do you think about deleting all the bad content in your IG account and have a fresh start? Or is it better to start a new account? Well, Dr. Graff, I would say, let's look at how long that's going to take you to do. I mean, if 90% of your account is trash, just trash the account, right? Because it's going to take you a long time to delete all those posts. And do you really have that time? If you have a handful of low engaging posts, and you have the time perhaps to go through and kind of do an audit, I would delete those low engaging posts. I do that all the time. If I post something, I posted something last night and it just wasn't picking up steam after the first 60 minutes, I just deleted it. Get it out. Get it off. It's like dirt. Like, get it off.
Does it slow down future engagements just to have posts like that?
Yeah, it does.
I'm not too sure about that. I mean, like, so if you have a bad post that hasn't really picked up, so yeah, anything you post after that,
it's actually a
going
lag.
To get hit.
It's actually a lag. Yeah. That's why you see bigger accounts. They'll post. I've noticed this because I follow some of these bigger accounts. I'll see them post because I'll get notified, and then I'll see 2 minutes later they'll post again. Then 2 minutes later they'll post again, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" They know that because they know their account better than anybody. They know that account, that post is not hitting, so they keep reposting until one hits. It's annoying to us as the follower, especially if we have our notifications on.
Yeah.
But they don't care because what matters most to them is that reach, that impact.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be my recommendation, Doc. I wouldn't overthink it too much. And if it's too much of a labor intensive activity, just scrap the account and start new, because it'll just save you a bunch of time. Save you a bunch of time. Let's get back
again,
into
you might be going. So, I don't want to skip too far ahead, but if you're considering changing or deleting a lot of that content, you got to ask yourself why. You got to ask. I mean, what's happening there? What's the core issue that's causing you to completely scrap that content or even scrap that profile? So, and then of course, do you have this new brand that you have in mind? I mean, what exactly are you trying to do with it? What's the purpose behind the impact that you're wanting to make in for the audience, and like how are you wanting to serve those audience?
Right.
So figure all that out before you take that next step.
Right. And ask yourself, why isn't this hitting? Why is it, just like you said, why isn't this post resonating? Right. Yeah. And then there'll be some great insight there. Okay. So let's get back to this questioning here. So again, the question is, how personable is your brand online? So I'm trying to give you sort of a little self-assessment here, if you will. We'll talk about assessments after in a little bit. But when you promote your product or service online, what happens? A, your sales fluctuate. Sometimes it works. B, you get 0 sales and you feel like it's a complete waste of time. C, you don't do any online promotions and it's just more brand awareness content. Or D, your sales are consistent throughout. So I want you guys to keep in mind when you're posting or promoting your products or services online and you're hearing this. There might be something wrong.
Yeah.
There might be something wrong. So before you post again and try to get a different result with the same energy, with the same action, you need to start asking yourself, why isn't this hitting? Why aren't people buying? Right? Is this something that people even want?
Yeah.
Right. I noticed that. Anything you want to talk to about that, Oasis, before we move on to the next question?
No, I think you covered that one pretty well.
Okay. Next question. When someone browses through your social media accounts, so say Oasis and I take a peek at your social media accounts, what kind of posts will we see? A, posts with links to funnels, links to your site with no intro, no pics, no description. It's just, here, go buy this.
Yeah.
B, posts about your products or services online. C, a mix of humor, educational posts that are linking back to your site or funnel. D, just random shit, right? Or E, you guys don't even post at all and we're not going to find anything. Where do you fall in those categories? Where do you fall? A, B, C, or D? Or E? Right? If it's E, you don't post at all, then you're not being personable. And why would anybody want to buy from you when they'll find another brand that is personable that they can connect with?
Right.
And
anyone with the highest online presence is actually going to win more business. It's just a higher likelihood for them to be able to attract the right business that they want.
I will challenge that. I'll challenge that and say that you don't have to have 150,000 followers like me to generate sales. I think what you need to do, and I think Oasis, you would agree with this, is you need to have relevant content that evokes an emotion, that is well-rounded, that could really help somebody identify who you are, what you do, why you do it, and how it's going to change their life.
Agreed. So now here's a question for you, Henry. Let's take all of those components and only post once a week versus the brand doctor that does 3-4 times, that posts like 3-4 times a day. Who's likely to win more business?
Me.
There you go.
Yeah, me. But the following count has nothing to do with it. It's the consistency that does, the frequency that does.
So that's what I'm talking about. The consistency is what I'm talking about.
Okay,
so when I
took
say
it as like you have to have a big following to
no.
big sales.
So when I say having a large footprint, my definition of having a large footprint isn't necessarily just the followers, but the consistency in the amount that you post.
I agree.
If you're, and that's when they talk about like the omnipresence aspect of it. If you're on all these, multi-platforms, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn, well, and you're posting on a daily basis, then I mean, there's a higher likelihood that you're going to show up when I'm searching for, a brand specialist.
Mm-hmm.
A brand design specialist. More than likely, I'm going to find you amongst probably 3-4 other guys that are doing this constantly.
Well, that's the key. And that's why I'm so consistent with it because, well, one, I absolutely love this shit. I love video. I love podcasting. I love Instagram, and I could do it all damn day. Right. And I do. I was just on an Instagram live this morning for 45 minutes. I just really, really enjoy it. And here's the thing. I think my audience realizes that. And I think I could be making this up, totally making this up. But I think that's why they hire me, because I absolutely adore what I do. And there's a lot of businesses out there, I won't name names, that may not have the same passion that they had when they first started. And so if you're going to hire somebody, who are you going to hire? You're going to hire somebody who's like, and meh about what it is that you want done? Or do you want to hire somebody that's so passionate about it that they're going to treat your job as if it was their business, their personal property, right? I'm going with that guy all day long. I hire people based on their passion and obviously how they align with my values, of course. But, I went through a bunch of landscapers over the past 6 years being in this new home, being in this house. And the ones that got the longest play out of me were the ones that treated my lawn like it was theirs. And you could tell, the ones that are cutting corners, and I don't want to hire those types of people.
Exactly.
So just a thought there, and again, if you're not out on social media, and we had this conversation offline many times. If every day you're not on social media, there's somebody else that does what you do. That is. And that's always a reminder for me, and I have a purpose. I have a mission. I want to help folks that have similar businesses, not only just to me, but maybe similar size businesses or people that are really passionate about making an impact in people's lives. I want to help those types of businesses. So if I'm not out there doing that, then I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing what I'm put here on this planet to do. And that's something that rubs it, that's that voice in the back of my head that says, get up, Henry, and go. Right. So we got one more question here. Okay. One more question to help you determine how personable your brand is online. Okay. So at this moment of time, you'd like to see what with your online presence? A, monitor what people are saying about your brand and keep a nice pulse on that. B, have more interaction with your posts in order to create more brand awareness. C, increase your revenues. D, paying more attention to what your competitors are doing to win over their clients, or E, all of the above? Where do you fall under what option? Okay. So here's the thing with social media, guys, and putting your brand out there and putting yourself out there. You're going to get to the point where it's going to get really comfortable. I fall into this a lot because it's very easy for me to go live and talk for 30 minutes, and I may be off topic. I may be off brand. I may be off message, and I won't even know because I'm so passionate about doing this. It comes so easy to me.
Yeah.
Right? That could be your biggest downfall. And it's happened to me a couple of times in the past where I get on and I do a dozen live streams, a dozen podcasts, and they're all off topic. Right? And then I realize, oh shit, I got to go back and I got to recalibrate and get back on the rails. So it's easy to get comfortable when things are going well. But what's going to help you is to, one, enjoy that time. Don't get me wrong. You got to enjoy that time. But B, look for the opportunities and optimizations that could help you. Look for that room of growth that will help you. Because that's how we grow. That's how we build brand. That's how we get better. So here's my question to you guys. It's at the time of this recording, it is May 4th, 2021. We're 5 months into the new year. How have you bettered your brand to this point? What have you gotten better at? What have you implemented to help your clients? What have you implemented to help your brand? What have you implemented or learned to help yourself? If the answer is not much or nothing, I challenge you to put down whatever you're doing and get to work. And that may be hiring somebody. That may be diving into the books. That may be doing more collaborations, doing more networking, doing more whatever. But if you're in 5 months to the new year and you can't say that you've learned something new or done something different than last year to help grow you and your business, then you got work to do. And this is where I'm going to introduce my brand assessment. Because here's what happens, guys. You get too close to your business and you don't see the opportunity and you don't see the outside perspective that could be killing your growth. Listen, Oasis has a coach, has somebody that he goes to on a monthly basis. I have somebody that I go to on a monthly basis. We're constantly hiring people to fill in the gaps where we're weak. We don't need to do it all. We don't need to know it all.
Be aware of those weaknesses, recognize them, and understand that if you're not able to overcome those, you're going to stay stagnant.
You're going to stay stuck. And people ask me all the time, like, what's the one thing that you would go back in your career 14 years and change? And I said, getting help faster, getting help sooner. I'd be so further along. That's okay. That's all right. I had to learn those lessons the way I learned them. But So that's why I recommend this brand assessment. If you want access to this assessment, all you have to do is go to my website. You'll see links. If you're listening to this in the podcast, you'll see links down below. You go to the website and you just click the button, book an assessment. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at where you're at right now. We're going to look at where you want to go. We're going to find the obstacles in between that you may not even be seeing because nobody's even asked you these types of questions before. And we're going to get you to where you need to go and where you need to be. Okay. I'm not going to sit there and strip your website to nothing. I'm not going to bash your Instagram. I'm not going to bash your logo. I don't even share my screen and look at your stuff. I'm more concerned with learning more about you and what your goals are and what's getting in your way and how you're getting in your own way and helping you uncover that to help you build and grow this brand. And that's what the brand assessment's all about. So if you're interested, go book it now and I'll see you on that call. Always, any parting words before we wrap this up? Dude, this was a 35-minute episode. It feels like 3 hours and 50 minutes. I don't know about you. This
dropped so much knowledge, man. Look, at the end of the day, I was having this conversation with someone earlier today, and we're talking about the right language. I just freeze up.
Yeah, a little bit. That's all right. Keep talking.
So, I was, we're talking about speaking the language of your customers, speaking from their perspective. So I don't know how much we touched on the messaging aspect of things, but really, again, identifying exactly who they are first, but then also when you come back to creating an impactful message, it's got to be from their standpoint. And that's what's going to evoke those emotions. That's what's going to get them to, or that's what's going to compel them to actually act towards wherever it is that you want to go, whether it's just liking that post, whether it's be commenting on that post, or, actually getting them to move forward and say, okay, well, let's get into the funnel and buy this program or hire me for a coaching, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm. Listen, the most personal brand wins. I don't mean personal brand. I said the most personable brand will win. Because if I had to go back and interview every one of my clients to this day, and there's hundreds of them at this point, they'd say, Henry, and I've gotten this response before. They've gotten this response before. I'm not making this up. Because I always ask them why you hired me. But they all say the same thing. Henry, we like you. Like your courageousness, your attention to detail, your love for what it is that you do, and your love for people is why we hire you. And you're not just a designer. You're somebody that wants to help people design their lives, like on a personal level. Because when you have a great business, that could really fund a real beautiful lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And that's my game. I'm here on borrowed time. I've had a hell of a life thus far, and I've been so blessed. And I think we all deserve that, and we all could achieve that if we choose to. So we have to make that choice. And I'm here to help guide you to make that right choice. Because there's so much distraction out there, and it's so easy these days to make the wrong choice. So why not get the right help to make the right choice? So, and they see that through my consistency. They see it through. So, all right, enough about me. I sound like I'm fucking, you know what I mean? So let's just wrap this up because I'm rambling at this point. But you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining. Dr. Graffo, thanks for joining us live. And I want to encourage you guys to keep tuning in. We're going to keep bringing the as much value as we can for you to help you dial in your brand's messaging, dial in your brand's identity, and dialing in that connection that is much needed for you guys to create and design a business that will really help you fulfill your dreams, your family's dreams, and your clients' dreams. So have an amazing day, guys, and we'll catch you on the next episode real soon. Take care.